You can do it. Oh, Jesus, it's just how I feel in general. What a mood. Hello everyone, Scrivener here. We've got a little bit of a different setup here today because I'm exhausted. I've had a really long week and I really didn't want to set up all the lights. Sad I didn't want to put on real clothes, so I'm wearing my pajamas. I've just got my lamp on and yeah, we're gonna just talk about some media. I've been in a bit of a productivity slump lately. I've found it very difficult to motivate myself to write or go outside for walks or do anything that isn't just cooking, watching, or reading. I have all these ideas for videos to do and essays to write. I even have footage sitting on my laptop for a video that I've barely touched. It seems that despite how much I love writing and video editing, which is my favorite part of the process because that's where I get to trick everyone into thinking that I maybe sorta have something interesting to say, but it's been impossible for me to do anything about it. I've been thinking a lot about why I can't write and why we do this channel in the first place. Obviously, there's the whole representation matters, critical analysis of media and stories is important to the health of storytelling. That part is still very true, but I mean more, what do we personally get out of the channel? Because it is a labor of love. You all are wonderful. Most of you. Those of you still leaving comments on Paige's London video, I don't know why you're here. We don't make very much from this channel, and we don't even get the kind of regular views that we used to, despite having 30,000 subscribers. But I know that what I get out of it is fun. This is supposed to be fun for me. Writing about topics I'm passionate about, allowing myself to write things that are fun to write about. I at least need to get back into writing things that I find fun before I start forcing myself to write things that I know I should write because they're important. This video was something that I thought would be really easy, and yet I've barely done any work on it since I came up with the idea a few months ago. This is not a video essay, but it is a scripted video. I'm just going to tell you about some media that's been bringing me joy in some way because it's a rough time we're living in, and my threshold for what I can handle in terms of stories and media right now is a bit lower than usual because of that. You're probably feeling the same way too, so if any of these recommendations help, that's great. That makes me happy. Let's get started. First up is a Netflix movie that our friend Princess suggested for our weekly Sapphic movie night. We've been doing this movie night for about a month, and it's been really nice. This is another thing that's brought me a lot of comfort. As you all know, I'm in a long-distance relationship, so of course I know the importance of video calls, but for the last several years I've lived far away, not just from my girlfriend, but literally all of my friends and family. I've gotten very used to being alone most of the time, and yet I never really thought about trying to organize something like this with my friends pre-pandemic. It's been a real blast, and it's something I look forward to every single week. Usually we watch a movie, but there was a call over the weekend where we just talked, and then we watched a 4K video of World of Color. My friends are helping make each passing week a little more bearable. I took this footage on Saturday and didn't remember to do it until after Princess had to dip out so she could go to sleep, but she's the one who suggested this movie a few weeks back, so props to her. Go check out her channel. You might recognize Annie Elaney up in the corner there. They have a channel as well, so go watch their latest video. Links will be in the description. I guess I should talk about the movie now. This is basically a sports competition dance movie starring Sophia Carson. I know that sounds really basic, and it would have been very easy for this film to fall into cringy and boring cliches. But the writing was actually really solid. And of course, we all spent a lot of time gazing adoringly at Sophia Carson's perfect everything. It was sweet and emotional and ultimately very heartwarming. A soothing balm for our tired queer hearts. Also found on Netflix, Sweet Magnolias is a TV show based on a series of chill romantic drama books by Cheryl Woods. I watched this shortly after it premiered on Netflix back in May, basically because I was looking for something to have on in the background while I did dishes or other chores. I didn't have any expectations, and I certainly didn't expect to feel the way I ended up feeling. I really liked this show. Like a lot. It stars Joanna Garcia Swisher, Heather Headley, and Brooke Elliott as our three leads, Maddie, Helen, and Dana Sue. It's set in a fictional town in South Carolina, so there's a lot of southern flavor, and we know I'm all about that. These three women have been best friends since they were kids, and Maddie is currently going through a divorce after her husband cheated on her and got the woman he was cheating with pregnant. I didn't recognize her until Paige told me, but she played Ariel on Once Upon a Time. Oh, God. You are so much smaller than I need you to be right now. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna... Vistas just gonna sit here, and I'm gonna pet him. And rest. Heather Headley as Helen is my favorite. She's just amazing. Heather Headley actually originated the role of adult Nala on Broadway, so that's really cool. I don't really know Brooke Elliott. I haven't seen her in anything else, but she's also great. I just really like all of the characters. And with the exception of one character, the cheating ex-husband, the show treats literally everyone with such compassion. This show is basically a concentrated shot of pure distilled empathy. The woman who Maddie's ex-husband cheated with, Noreen, played by Jamie Lynn Spears, is treated with understanding and kindness, and she has her own story beyond being a source of discomfort for Maddie. Even a character who you think is going to be a stereotypical, vapid, mean girl is shown to have depth and intelligence. It's a really beautiful show in that way, and it's very soothing and comforting, just as a kind of utopia. I mean, there's drama, there's small town, petty kind of drama, but for the most part, there is very little conflict. The stakes are very low. The exception is the last episode, which manages to cram all of the stress and drama a show like this would normally stretch out over a season to a single episode. The whiplash was a little shocking, so be prepared for that. Besides that, I love how racially diverse the cast is. It feels very authentically Southern in that way. There are nearly as many black characters as there are white, which was great. We have a dark-skinned black woman who gets to be vulnerable and has two gorgeous men who are totally into her. We have a fat woman running a successful restaurant, and nobody ever makes comments about her weight. And she also has two very hot love interests. Paige did point out to me that Dana Sue is diagnosed with diabetes a few episodes in, and that because of the way we think of fatness and diabetes together, you can never entirely unlink that association in the viewer's mind, so it brings that baggage, regardless of whether or not they say it in the dialogue. So there is that. However, her doctor doesn't make any kind of recommendation for her to lose weight, just to not overwork herself. There's also this very funny moment in one of the early episodes where the 14-year-old theater nerd who is playing Puck in the school's production of Midsummer Night's Dream, which is a choice. It's just a choice. I'm probably a little biased because my high school didn't even really have a theater program. But whatever, what do I know? Roll the clip.
I'm in the spring play. I'm Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream.
I've only seen one play. It was beautiful. It was called Cats.
Yeah, but that's a musical. It's not real theater.
You'd think that that would make me mad, but it's just so wrong and ridiculous and totally a thing a pretentious 14-year-old theater nerd would say, that I can't help but find it hilarious. The show does have a very straight energy, except for one character, and I was delighted when my instinct was not wrong about that. But what are you gonna do? You know, nothing's perfect. Just be ready for that last episode. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the best Western animated shows of all time, if not just one of the best shows in general of all time. It happens to be my favorite show. I'm sure most of you are aware that it is on Netflix now. I promise this whole list is not just Netflix. So I've been rewatching it with Michaela, and I've been having so much fun. This was my first hardcore fandom. I read and wrote fic. I saved art on my desktop. I checked avatarspirit.net all the time. I am extremely familiar with basically every single episode. I have not read the comics because I heard they were bad. There's nothing much for me to say here that you probably haven't heard a million times before, but watching this show as an adult has been satisfying in a way I couldn't have predicted. I've always known it was a very smart show with a really good story, but the experience of watching the whole thing again as an adult has given me perspective and an enjoyment that I only could have had with the life experience that I've gained as an adult. And I'm still a pretty young one at that, and that's exciting. That's my favorite kind of story. The one that you can return to at any point and find and learn something new. One that continues to enrich you. It's been really nice. Watching it again it's given me hope. There was a day where I just woke up and it bothered me that I had never finished the first season of Tangled, the series. And it was on Disney Plus, so I just decided to binge the whole first season in about 3 days. I actually started watching it back in 2017 when it was airing, but I quickly got behind on episodes because, frankly, after that first long episode, which I thought was really good, I got bored. And I felt that had more to do with the fact that they seemed to be writing for a younger audience. There's nothing wrong with that. Kids should have stories that are written exclusively for them and their tastes. But if I don't feel engaged by it, I'm not gonna watch it unless, you know, I have to. But everyone kept telling me that it's so good and so amazing, and I saw a bunch of weird emo spoilers for the second season on Instagram, so I decided to just get the first season over with so I could see how I felt about it. Obviously, what I'm about to talk about is only about the first season. This is not about the show as a whole. I will finish the entire series at some point. That is not today. Let's talk about the tone issues. Really, Tangled the series is two completely separate shows that have almost nothing to do with each other. Kind of like Cars 2. One show is a cheerful and episodic one, almost always ending with the kind of simplistic and generic moral lessons about friendship or honesty that you've seen in just about every other show for children under 10. The other show is a very dark one, full of baby's first extended universe lore, attempted murder, and disturbing imagery. The former is perfectly adorable fare for 3 to 8-year-olds, and the latter seems to hit best with the preteen 11 to 15 range, especially as a kind of starter kit for dense fantasy epics. I know what you're thinking. Sarah, that's a really weird age gap to straddle. Well, you would be right. It is really weird. I don't know why the show is this way. It seems like such an odd choice. Maybe this is a case of trying to have your cake and eat it too, making most episodes unobjectionable for a 5-year-old to watch after school on Disney Channel, while also trying to draw in a devoted older young audience like Adventure Time or Steven Universe. Maybe that's not such a terrible idea, but it makes for a very uneven experience when viewed in its entirety. The last few episodes of season 1 get very dark. very fast, and it doesn't feel at all earned because there's no build-up to the sheer amount of gravitas that they throw at you. I can really only think of 2 episodes that manage to blend these tones together in a way that feels balanced at all. I know that I've said almost nothing positive about this show. I like the animation. I think the cast is really great. You might be wondering why I'm bringing this up, because this is a video about things that have been making me happy or bringing me joy. And I mean, like, genuinely, my critique of Tangled the series has brought me joy because I am a creature fueled mostly by spite. Oh god. No, I've had a lot of fun talking about it, honestly, and I mean, it's watchable. There is something to be said about media that you can just watch, you know? I don't want to get too much further into it because I know that Tangled the series is very popular. Oh, I can hear the stands a-comin'. This is ultimately just my opinion, and like I've said, I think it's a great first foray into dark fantasy, especially for a younger viewer, and I don't want anyone who enjoys it to feel bad for liking it. If you've seen my other videos, you know that when I want you to feel bad for liking something, I'm pretty fucking obvious about it. I've already started the 2nd season. Adira is so cool. Wow. But if the 1st season is any indication, the huge amounts of goodwill and fawning over this show by the Disney fandom is probably just because people simp for Rapunzel. But we'll just have to see. Next up we have music. The kind of music that scratches that shut up and dance with me itch. Everything Changes in the End is the debut album of a Scottish alt-indie rock band called Vistas. It came out in May and I have not stopped listening to it. This album feels like summer condensed. We've missed out on a lot of the typical kind of summer things, and it's nice to feel that little taste of it with this album. So many fun songs to sing and dance around to that just give you that summer beach high. After watching a video from 2 Cents about how to support musicians, I actually bought the whole album on their website for $10. So if you end up liking it, I would encourage you to do that because obviously pretty much all of that money goes directly to them. My favorite song is either Tiger Blood or the eponymous song of the album. I will admit that there is a certain amount of monotonous tone to the album between songs, but all of the songs are such bangers I don't really care. And I'm just looking forward to whatever they do next. Give it a listen, especially if you're looking for some joyful, belting music. And finally, for something totally different than usual, let's talk about a video game! God, I just contain multitudes. I've only had my Nintendo Switch for a couple of months. I managed to cobble one together by buying a used tablet piece on eBay, and I already had Joy-Cons and a dock because we bought one last year for Michaela's when she visits, so I really lucked out. And for a while I was playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I got a little burnt out. I will probably return to it at some point. Besides playing trash-talking filled cups of Mario Kart with Michaela, I have just recently finished playing a game called Celeste. If you follow video games, you probably have heard of Celeste. It's an indie Canadian platformer where you climb a mountain. It's gotten a lot of attention because of its message about living with anxiety and depression, extremely playable mechanics, and a really lovely score. It feels like this game was designed for my brain. My approach to challenges is straightforward but detailed, and that works really great here. I've had so much fun playing that I feel bad that I got it on sale for $5. And I never feel bad about saving money on entertainment. $5 just doesn't seem right for the amount of enjoyment I've gotten out of this game. It's not that it's easy per se, it is challenging, but for me it's the right kind of challenging. The fun kind that makes you feel really good when you manage to navigate past all the spike bubbles. And the story is really touching. It was lovely to lose myself in the journey. I think we should call it at 6 things. I actually had about a dozen things I wanted to talk about, but I knew that would be a really long video. So I'm splitting it into 2 parts. I'll be back in a few weeks to give you more hot takes and recommendations, though I can guarantee you that my hottest take in either of these videos was my Tangled the series bit. It's a really difficult and scary time, and I hope everyone is hanging in the best they can. I hope you're taking care of yourselves as much as possible. It's not just a good thing to take care of yourself and allow yourself to rest, it's vital to keep fighting. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I hope some of the things I mentioned bring you some much needed joy when you need it. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. In the comments below, let me know something you're doing, reading, watching, whatever that is making you feel better. I've just started reading Slay by Brittany Morris. I'm not too far into it yet, but I love it. It's so interesting. Check it out from your local library. Lots of branches are doing curbside pickups, and as long as you wash your hands and let the book sit somewhere for about a day, it'll be safe to touch. Also, if for some reason you want updates on Tangled the series when I finish it, let me know. And if you enjoyed my thoughts or my cheekbones, subscribe to The Princess and the Scrivener for more videos on Disney, intersectional feminism, pop culture critiques, and more. I'm so tired. One of us will see you real soon.